up to 70% fewer calories. Enjoy crispy, delicious fries with little or no oil, guilt-free onion rings, cheesy and delicious mozzarella sticks. Call now and bring the Cook-Lite Aero Fryer into your home, including the Cook-Lite Aero Fryer recipe book, the unique patented dual tray, air frying mesh basket and tongs, and stainless steel extender ring. You'll get it all for 5 easy payments of $29.95. Be one of the first 500 callers and get this 13-piece knife set, a $175 value, yours free. Try Cook-Lite Aero Fryer for 30 days. If you don't love it, send it back. But keep the 13-piece knife set as our gift to you. Order in the next 10 minutes and we'll include free shipping. Call now or go online to air2fry.com. That's air2fry.com.
I knew I could get myself out of this. I just needed some hope and some help.
I took the first step to recovery when I made the call.
Since 2014, Addiction Hope and Helpline has answered calls for recovery and treatment 24/7, 365 days a year. If you're depressed, drinking, using drugs, or taking pills, call now and talk to someone who cares.
I had problems just getting to sleep, drinking and using pills every night.
I feel like I'm losing control. I'm afraid I'll lose my job or even my family.
Most insurance covers substance abuse. You can get back on track. Call now for hope and help with proven gentle recovery programs.
I never thought that I could be somebody who didn't drink and use drugs.
I have something to hold on to for strength. I'm in recovery, getting the help I need.
Call 800-379-4799, 800-379-4799.
Attention! In July 2018, Bayer announced that it will be halting its sales of Assure. The Assure birth control may break or migrate after insertion, puncturing the fallopian tube, resulting in corrective surgery to remove the device. Thousands of women have reported debilitating health problems to the FDA. In April 2018, the FDA restricted sales of Assure to protect women and require that patients receive risk information.
Please call 800-425-9539.
Are you drowning in debt? Struggling just to make minimum payments? It's not your fault. Serious debt can happen to anyone, but there is hope. Our debt-free program has helped thousands of good people, just like you, eliminate their credit card debt. Call us today and we will dramatically reduce your credit card debt down to just a fraction of what you owe. The call is free. The consultation is free. Take control of your credit debt. Take control of your life again. Call now to see how our debt-free program can work for you.
Call 800-872-5230.
We're the hottest station in town. Whatever you need, it's right here on 910 AM Superstation. The most powerful voices in the urban community.
3, 2, 1.
You're listening to 910 AM Superstation. You're listening to 910 AM Superstation.
The best in the city.
The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of 910 AM Superstation or Adele Media. WFDF Farmington Hills, Detroit. 910 AM Superstation, a division of Adele Media.
Okay, so Sarah, I'm dropping you off at Emily's?
Yep.
And Josh, you're going to?
Soccer, Dad. Soccer practice.
Right. Oh, by the way, I just wanted to let you know when I pick you both up, I'll be wearing my short shorts.
What?
No!
Yep, and my dorky dad hat, and I'm going to do my dad dance for all your friends. They'll love it!
Seriously? Why?
Because I like my short shorts. Of course, I could be talked out of it if you guys would just buckle up your seatbelts without giving me a hard time.
It's important to get your kids to buckle up for safety, no matter what it takes. And sometimes, all it takes is your parental powers of persuasion.
Okay, we're buckling up.
See, all buckled.
Good choice. I'll just have to do my dad dance at dinner time. What?
No!
Do what you have to make sure your kids are wearing their seatbelts, even on short drives. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.
This is why you work so hard to pay the mortgage. Because home is more than 4 walls and a roof. It's that porch swing on a summer night. It's pajamas with feet and everybody over for Sunday dinner. And that old stuffed chair in the living room you just can't get rid of. This is why you work a second job. This is why you learn to fix things yourself, so you could save on repairs. Because home is your place, your memories, your family sleeping in their own beds at night. And that is why we want to help. We are making home affordable, a free government resource that can make paying the mortgage easier. And now even more options are available. Call 888-995-HOPE today. That's 888-995-HOPE or visit makinghomeaffordable.gov.
Good night, Mama.
This is why. Brought to you by the U.S. Treasury, HUD, and the Ad Council.
And good morning. You're listening to 910 AM, the Superstation. My name is Robert Ficano. I'm here with Keith Williams and also with Scotty. How you doing, gentlemen?
I'm doing good.
I think we got the wrong one on here. That's all right. Scotty Boman and Keith Williams. And we're just trying to adjust all our mics here. Keith, I think yours is on that side over there.
Yeah, I just realized that.
Okay. So how's everybody doing this morning?
I'm doing good.
Okay. How about you, Scotty? What's new and exciting?
Well, I'm doing all right, and I'm really, got a little excited about the fact that we got a American spaceship about to dock with the space station that's actually capable of transporting human beings. It's the first time in a long time that we've had that going on.
Huh. Okay.
Yesterday, Bob, I was with some friends, and we were talking about how the power elites ran a scam on us, okay?
The power elites. Okay, what was the scam?
The scam is Santa Claus, man. How can this big, listen to this, to all you Santa Claus folks, how can this big fat guy.
Don't tell my granddaughter this. Okay.
Listen, how can this big fat guy at 12 o'clock go all around the world, down chimneys with toys and stuff, got reindeers flying? They must have some high propelled operations on them deers. How can that happen? This big fat guy at 12 o'clock, okay? And then, Bob, another question that was asked. Did Ozzie and Harry, ever go to work?
I guess you look at any of those sitcoms, did they ever go to work? Okay, did Bill Cosby ever go to work? He was always around the house too, wasn't he?
I don't know about Bill, but America brought us Ozzie and Harriet. Now listen to this. And Leave It to Beaver, the mother was cooking with an apron on with a $1,000 dress on and high heels. Okay?
Okay. I guess I wasn't as astute of the observations.
I didn't know they had $1,000 dresses back
I'm just saying, but guess what? My mother couldn't afford nothing like that. Okay, and then the last one is Father Knows Best. Where's the woman at?
Well, you're talking about the 1950s culture, right?
Yes, but guess what? It's still permeating. Donald Trump is trying to bring back the 1950s culture.
Donald Trump, now he spoke at C-SPAN yesterday.
Yeah, he did.
Right? He's firing up his base. He had a hard time out in Vietnam. Apparently, he didn't come to any agreement.
Yeah, right.
He didn't get any agreement whatsoever.
And then your man is a killer. He's a known killer, and he didn't know anything about my man being killed.
Yeah, the one
Otto or something.
Yeah, Otto, where he brought him back, but he unfortunately had been beat up in prison or whatever it was so badly that he was mentally incapacitated, and then he died like 3 days later when he actually hit U.S. soil with it, and he's claiming that he didn't. He thinks that the leader of North Korea didn't know anything about it, which is with all the gulags they run over there. And
but that's what he told him.
Yeah, of course. Well, of course, he believes him. He believes any dictator. And one of the problems is that when you look at democracy, it is really under assault. If you look at it all across the world, all across the globe, that's actually happening, and something that people are not as aware of, because obviously we look at democracy here in the United States, but you look at it across the world, the axes that are being set up between Russia, China, and even like North Korea and places like that, they are all big-time dictators that they're starting to bring their economies along into capitalism, and they're having this mix, and they're trying to sell the rest of the world that the democracy doesn't work.
Well, Donald Trump tried to send a couple of McDonald's over there. Jumping McDonald's over there. No, but Bob, I was just reminiscing as a child. I remember the 50s. We woke up with Leave It to Beaver and all them other stuff. They ran a scam on us, man. They're the only ones living good, man. You know, everybody else.
Okay.
Yeah, I know I don't want to break nobody's heart.
Especially Santa Claus.
Yeah, but guess what, Bob? That's a hell of imagination. This big fat guy are going all around the world at 12 o'clock. How could they be?
Obviously, if you're a 3-year-old, you believe it. That's the scam.
That's the scam. And
he has helpers.
Right.
Little elves.
Yeah, okay, little helpers. Then all of a sudden, down the Hudson prop up, Macy's prop up, all these big conglomerates needed a holiday so they could sell their goods. That's a good thing.
They said it wasn't really till the 20s or 30s that the merchandising actually really got into the Christmas. That, you know, a lot of it was just family food and things like that, and then all of a sudden it exploded into, you know, commerce.
It's like
what it did.
Sweetest Days it was not talked about nowhere else but in Michigan. Sanders candy. You know,
Yeah.
you know,
Kathy. Yeah, why you don't give Kathy anything on Sweetest Day?
No, it ain't got nothing to do with that. It ain't got nothing to do with it. Don't come up with a fictitious holiday.
Yeah, well, a lot of things are fictitious.
It's like a purely secular St. Valentine's Day.
And then I don't know if they ever went to the moon. We don't know.
Oh, come on. They did. Now you're starting to sound like those theorists. Now you believe more like you're in the Trump camp over there.
No, this is not the Trump camp, Bob. Think about it. Think about all we see is the shit going up in the air. Okay, so they make. I believe in science. I do. Okay, but some of this stuff is outrageous, Bob.
Like what? Climate?
No, climate change is not outrageous.
Okay,
Yeah,
but a politician claiming he can stop it is.
Oh yeah, that's true too. Oh, Santa Claus. But
Santa Claus. Keep going back to Santa Claus. Gotta hope my granddaughter's not listening to this. You know.
Yeah, y'all need. A guy come up, Billy said he told the truth. He said there's no such thing as Santa Claus. Daddy Santa Claus.
Yeah.
That's what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, it sure is.
Grandpa and granddaddy.
Grandpa, everybody, they're buying the presents.
They're buying
you got them,
presents.
they're putting it under the
You
tree.
the Santa Claus, so you might as well put a suit on.
I have actually done that.
Oh,
So,
wow.
okay.
Santa Claus is more of a spirit, and so he occupies different bodies in order to do his work.
Yeah, that's why he's out of shape.
okay.
He got this big old belly. He might have diabetes and all that.
You guys are horrendous. All right. Getting to the serious subjects of what we're going to be covering here are some of the polling that's going on, along with there was a lot of announcements in Detroit this past week concerning the big one, which was the Chrysler plant. There's more information that's coming up about it. Tax credits seem to be drawing a lot of attention nationally. You saw it with Amazon now, and stadiums and things, and now our current governor, Gretchen Whitmer, has said that they're not going to disclose what the actual credits are towards the Chrysler deal until after the economic board up at the state actually
What's
meets.
up with that, Bob? You're a lawyer. Tell us, break it down to us. I'm just a parking lot lawyer.
Parking lot lawyer. Listen to this. Well, I don't understand the competitive edge of why you wouldn't disclose it. I mean, right now, Chrysler says they're in. They've bought into it. The other interesting thing about it to both of you is that I didn't realize how much of the property the Maroons owned around the Chrysler plant.
Right, and I found that out from my city councilman when he was at a meeting yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, and so Maroon had quietly bought all the property around it. Then you have this announcement. Now they're gonna benefit from it as well. And there's some homes that got to be apparently pushed out, or people out of their homes. I don't know how long that's going to take. It's going to be interesting. You can't technically use eminent domain for economic purposes. You can't connect
like they
it.
did in Hamtramck.
Yes, you can't do that anymore.
They wiped out a church, a little Catholic church.
Catholic and a lot of homes too. That's part of it. Okay, we got John. John, this is I think our local postal.
Yeah. Good morning.
Good morning, John. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. You know, whenever I hear you talking about Trump and the Korean guy, the American who was killed in Korea, I go back to myself and I'm thinking, remember Hillary Clinton when 4 were dead in Benghazi? She said, "What?"
Man, come on, man. You know, John, I love you, man. You know, I've never seen your face. I've never seen your face. But y'all got a clown for a president.
Here's another
He's a
one.
clown, man. He's a liar. He's a thief. He's a crook.
John, how do you believe anything that he says? How do you believe that? And his own attorney's already turned against him. Their testimony.
He's going to win 2020. Don't worry about it. He's got 2020 wrapped up.
Oh no, he's scared. You see, the large donors in the Republican Party are scared. They say there's no strategy, there's no message, and he barely won some of the Midwest states.
The Republicans are rhinos, Bob. They're rhinos.
But what are you, John? I'm just trying to figure it out. You eat off the public trough, okay? Okay. You man, hold on. You can't be your own man eating off the public trough. You work for the post office. You went to the military.
You got a pension for the military.
You got a pension for the military. You've been eating off the public trough.
You can go to
all
the VA.
your life, and then you come out railing against government.
I've been working for everything I've earned.
I work for everything I earned too, but I do get benefits from the Democratic Party.
No, Democratic Party.
You got Social Security. Let's go back, John. Let's look at the history. You got Social Security. You got Medicaid, Medicare. You got all the good things that you would never thought of under the Republican Party.
That probably helped your parents as well.
Help your parents and go help your kids. So what are you railing about government against?
Social Security is going broke. Medicare,
no, it's not. That's a Republican fallacy that they always want to plug in there.
Any numbers I've looked at say that that's correct. It's subsidized by our tax dollars.
They're not okay. It's not going to go. That's a scare tactic. It's not going to go broke. Okay. There's plenty of other tunnels or avenues of revenue that can be brought in to help it anyway.
Bob, what gets me about this whole conversation is this.
In order to save Social Security, you got to shut off some government programs. So
let me say this to you: you're gonna die one day, okay? Social Security is not in perpetuity, okay? But guess what? It says while you're on this earth, you should share in the tax dollars like everybody else.
Yeah,
I don't mind sharing, but I don't like the government taking away from me. The government ain't.
Guess what? You're a public trough eater.
John, this is interesting because my department head at Wayne County Community College, he was talking. He's an ex-Detroit police officer, and he was telling me how his dad worked all his life, and he had a pension and had a very small pension from the company and Social Security. He said if it wasn't for Social Security, all the kids would have had to really chip in and try to help this parent, both parents, survive. And he was talking about Social Security actually being that bridge that helped them and have their own autonomous home and house and home and car and things like that.
Well, let me tell you about what my dad told me about Social Security. I used to go pick him up he'd get his check, and I used to go get his 6-pack of beer and his scratch numbers. And then my dad, he worked for 30 years for ExxonMobil. He said, boy, if I'd have worked for my Social Security my whole life, I wouldn't have accomplished nothing. This is my fun money.
No, man, what are you talking about, man? Like your father's.
But your dad probably had a pretty nice pension, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Right.
Oh yes.
Okay.
All right, man.
So he had a nice. There's a lot of people out there, John, that don't have that pension, and a lot of them are getting, are getting eliminated. I don't know what take for example the UAW and stuff. I think the average pension is like $21,000. I mean, okay, that's not the greatest in the world.
But Bob, he found his niche. John found his niche. Okay.
The thing is, when people are getting something from the government, it's only money that the government had taken away from people previously. And so the argument could be made that whatever reductions are happening in pensions and so forth are really the result of money being displaced by the government system, effectively filling a role that would otherwise be by a more voluntary system.
Scott, I'll ask you a question. Would you give up your pension? Would you give up your Social Security? Are you going to give up your Social Security?
At this point, if I was able to get what I already put in, I would.
No.
The problem is we've already put into it, and people do have a right to get back what they already put in.
We've seen when people have put in, right, when people just aren't good at managing sometimes the resources. Right. And if you would have gone through 2007 or 8 when that crash started to happen and you didn't have the Social Security and you were just depending on that investment, there'll be a lot of people on the street right now.
Well, a lot more people would be able to save, though, if it wasn't taken from them.
You know something?
What, Jan? Go ahead.
The government does nothing but take away. The government does not produce any jobs. The government takes and regulates.
Let me say this.
Wait a minute. Doesn't produce any jobs? When you military.
You
how
produce your job.
Yeah,
you produce your job.
You had not only had the defense, but the government was feeding the whole military industrial complex, right? Who were making those planes? Who were making those ships? Who was making? It was the government saying this is a priority and this is where we're putting some of the money.
Hold on. Selfridge Air Force Base out in Macomb County, where you reside. That's taxpayers' money. That's where you go get your you go shop and get your goods out of Selfridge Air Force Base. What are you talking about?
The first priority of the government is protect the country. That's the first priority.
Sure.
Right.
Okay.
That's what we got to do.
And they pour money into that, right? It's the government doing it.
They got to build ships.
The government isn't building the ships or the, what is it, Boeing or whatever the planes are.
The government just keeps expanding, though. The belly of the beast. The belly of the beast.
Hold on. Let me say this to you. If all this Republican talk is a shift of taxes to the folks who already got the money. It's a scam. They've been talking about trickle-down economics for the last 30 years, and it doesn't work.
Social Security's a scam.
That's not a scam. Then give you up your Social Security then, John. Don't take it.
They've been read the Social Security.
Don't take it, John. If you don't like Social Security, don't take it.
But if he already paid into it, he's entitled to get something.
No, but he's railing against
it. You know what? The same police officer I was talking to, Detroit PD does not. They might now, but for a number of years, they never paid into Social Security. You know what they said? That was the biggest mistake that they've ever made, that they didn't have the Social Security that they once those cops
Right.
retired.
Well, that's because the city took away their pensions that was owed to them.
Well, that they did too. Go ahead, John. What?
They were called civil servants. They didn't pay into Social Security because they were called civil servants. Now, we go in the 1980s when the Democrats owned the House and Senate and Reagan was the president. They realized they couldn't afford to pay the civil servants some money.
But let me share this with you. Ronald Reagan and Tip O'Neill. Hold on. John, you can spew that the garbage with somebody else. Ronald Reagan, Tip O'Neill cut a deal to save Social Security. Go run that garbage with somebody else.
They wanted to save it.
They saved it. Thomas Tip O'Neill, Ronald Reagan cut a deal to save Social Security.
They put everybody on 401ks, and they said, "There's your money." But they've been
John, do you have a pension from the post office? Are you going to get one?
I'm investing in my pension. Yeah, I'm investing in my pension.
Okay, so you're getting a pension from so obviously that's not been eliminated. You're getting a pension, right?
I'm paying for it. No,
well, okay. Everybody contributes, but you wouldn't be able to. You would not get the full benefit of your pension if you only depended on the amount of money you put in, right?
Well, that's why I want Trump to be president in 2020 because
and guess what? It ain't gonna happen because buffoonery buffoonery. That's all comes out of Republican Party. Buffoonery. Donald Trump is the worst thing y'all ever came up with. I'll take George W. Bush any day of the week than that clown y'all got right now.
I'll throw George W. Bush away.
Listen, Donald Trump's good. He got bad grammar. He tweets. He don't know what he's talking about.
He's got 8th grade grammar. He can't put sentences together.
See, y'all want dumbing down of America. We want lifting up of America.
I've seen bumper stickers of W saying, "You miss me yet?"
Yeah, man.
John, we appreciate it. We gotta go, John. We gotta go to break. Okay, thanks. All right, have a good. Okay, thanks, John. We're going to break right now. Jim, hold on, or we'll get to you right after the break. Or we might have lost Jim already. Anyway, we're going to break. We'll be right back.
He's the.
$40 million. That's the number of free phones still available and the number of how many Americans can still get prescriptions free.
Free could be wonderful. That's why I'm still working at 77 years old to pay off my prescriptions.
I needed to have a prescription filled and I had to leave because I couldn't afford it.
Call now and see what's available for you. Free prescriptions. Over 10 million people get prescriptions free. The program has expanded, so another 40 million can. Free dental. Over 15,000 dentists have provided over $330 million in free dental work. Free cell phones. 40 million free cell phones are still available with free minutes and more.
Free cell
would change my life right now because it is something I cannot afford to get.
Medical supplies like back braces, knee braces, and diabetic supplies may be covered too. The free RX Plus hotline has saved callers over $12 million on their prescription costs. These free programs are now available to 40 million more people. Call now.
The day you lose your strength is the day you lose your independence. Muscle is lost with age, affecting your energy, balance, and mobility. Before you know it, you're depending on others just to get through the day. But you can reverse and prevent muscle loss. Introducing MyoHealth, a revolutionary proven approach to increased muscle strength and function in as little as 30 days. Live life on your terms with more energy and confidence.
After a serious health issue put me down, MyoHealth's getting me back up again.
I'm doing activities that I haven't done for a long time. It really works.
MyoHealth is a safe, natural dietary supplement, the result of decades of research and 24 human clinical studies. You can live stronger at any age with greater strength, mobility, balance, and energy. Call or go online now and take the MyoHealth 30-Day Strength Challenge.
So you've decided to go to college. That's cool. So pop quiz. Which is a better way to earn your degree? Commute to college and fill your gas tank, get stuck in traffic, drive in bad weather, try to find a parking space, walk a half mile to class, or learn online at Independence University. In the park on a bench, on the beach on a towel, or on your couch with your kid. Your campus is wherever you want it to be. You don't go to college. College goes to you. That's independence. That's Independence University. You schedule classes around your schedule, and all your supplies, including a brand new laptop and tablet, are included with tuition. At Independence U, you'll learn from professional instructors with real work experience. You'll get personal support in school and employment assistance when you graduate. Get your degree, but keep your life. That's independence. That's Independence University. So if you're really smart, you call now.
Call 1-800-556-7791.
Independence U for an independent you.
Call 1-800-556-7791.
Are you getting the most out of your Medicare plan? Are you sure? Many people with Medicare are eligible for plans that include extra benefits in addition to those found in original Medicare. Benefits like dental, vision, and prescription drug coverage. Call now to see if you're eligible to enroll. The consultation is free with no obligation to enroll. In addition to hospital and medical coverage, at no extra cost, you could also get coverage for prescription drugs, dental, hearing, vision, and more. In many areas, plans with benefits are available with $0 copays for many services, $0 monthly premiums, or $0 deductibles. That's hospital, medical, prescription drug, dental coverage, and more included in one plan with premiums that may be as low as $0 a month. Call now to see if you're eligible to enroll. The consultation is free and there's no obligation to enroll.
Call 1-800-571-8580. That's 1-800-571-8580.
Somebody said you sound like you was in a hole.
Good morning. My name's Robert Ficano. You're listening to 910 AM, the Superstation. And you can join us at 313-778-7600, 313-778-7600. I'm here with Scotty Boman and with Keith Williams, who is all fired up this morning. We're just use the word Trump and it becomes an accelerator here.
Man, I'm tired of these conservatives calling in about Trump. This guy's the worst president in the history. He's worse than Herbert Hoover.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, we got some callers on about it. Watts, you're on with the panel here.
Morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
The thing about Social Security, okay, there's a FDR program, and I wish I could remember the woman's name that I guess really helped out, doesn't get enough credit. First Secretary of Labor. But anyway, tons of people, I guess, before Social Security were ripped off by these get-rich schemes. And look at Bernie Madoff, all the people and the smart people and the highly educated.
That was the elites ripping off the elites there.
Yeah, I mean, like Steven Spielberg. I mean, here's a guy who's really rich and he's been around for a long time. And it's super unfortunate that his charity got really screwed over too. And so, and all the, I mean, it's bad enough he and his charities got ripped off, but all the smaller people too. And they ended up in interviews saying, well, if it wasn't for Social Security, we would be out in the streets. So you can invest, but that doesn't mean that you're going to.
Well, the problem is people don't pay a lot of attention sometimes to their investments, right? I mean, there's a lot of people that monitor it every day and things like that. But one of the problems you have is that if you go through a period like you did in 2007 or 8, and all of a sudden the market tanks so bad, all of a sudden all these people that have been investing and they think it's been building up, it's suddenly at half the value or 3/4 of the value of what it was. And Social Security at least is consistent in terms of what it's paying out to you on a monthly rate.
Exactly, and so many people think that they're smarter than the stock market, which is actually gambling. But I mean, it's basically a wise gamble. But people do.
Yeah, over time the stock market has historically always gone up. The problem is, if you're 70 years old and you're depending on paying your house note and everything else, you're paying it that month. Okay, you haven't got 2 years to wait for the market to come back.
Right.
And eventually, historically, it always has. But you haven't got the 2 year. You know, your notes due right then. Your car note, your house note, and things like that. So you don't have the luxury of saying, "Oh, I'll just leave the my account alone and it will grow back in 4 years or whatever it is." And that's that's the real fallacy of what people are doing, and you don't earn enough interest in an account to actually pay your bills either. I mean, if you depend strictly on the interest, on what you had accumulated, you're not going to be able to pay your bills. Put on that.
And before Social Security, if you go back in time and then examine what happened, so many people did end up in the streets. So we don't want that again. So we learned from the past.
And not only that, even Donald Trump isn't going to do anything trying to hurt Social Security. Politically, it's just becomes a big landmine if you try to do anything like that. I mean, it will create all sorts of havoc, I think, politically, if you try to eliminate Social Security.
Yeah, and the comparison about Bush and Trump, well, I didn't vote for Trump. There's tons of things I don't like about him. But there's some things I do like, actually, that I love, that he took on the NAFTA cause and the people left behind. I was hit hard. In fact, I lost my job, and so did a lot of my co-workers, white and black, and all kinds of immigrants and returning citizens, what have you. And they went off to Mexico and communist China and all that because of those horrible trade deals. So I do give them credit for at least putting that in the spotlight. And also,
the UAW and others for years have been advocating about what NAFTA was all about.
Yeah, exactly, and they were right. And Ross Perot said, no, I guess the UAW said it was a race to the bottom if it went through, and it sure was. Yeah. Ross Perot was right, the giant sucking sound. And but as far as Bush goes, he seems to be really likable. I mean, and he helped out the TSA workers who were laid off or not getting their pay with them.
Well, it's like everything else. When you're, and I think Keith and I have both experienced this. When you're in office, there's a lot of criticism. It's amazing how they think your intelligence level has gone up once you're out of office for a number of years and things like that. And you see the same phenomenon with Carter, with Bush, and a lot of them.
But sir, in the bottom, to me, the bottom line is the people with the money causes all the problems. Either one day they come up with schemes, leverage buyouts and all that other stuff, and it's always feeding them. They don't want to feed nobody else, and that's the problem I have.
Right, but I do hate Bush for starting the wars going over there, and also don't forget the flood in New Orleans. You're doing a heck of a job, Brownie. I hate that part, definitely. Okay. So,
well,
anyway,
we appreciate it. Thanks for calling in, Watts.
Thank you
very, very much. I know we're about to have Ed Sopolis come on with us, who is the pollster.
Yes.
That did some polls about what are affecting African Americans.
Yes. Is he on?
No, I don't think he's called in yet. So, John, you're back on.
Yeah, the first woman to draw a Social Security check was Ida Mae Fulmer. And that's there was about maybe 9 in the Social Security. We don't have that many people paying in Social Security now. That's why Social Security is going broke.
Well, I think also the problem, I guess you want to call it a problem, is people are living longer, and the system.
Yeah, they never anticipated people having
would be
this
more
length.
solvent when you have you had a much growing population in a world that had room for a growing population with a very much shorter average life expectancies and larger families as far as number of children. So you had a pyramid with more money coming in. And now the pyramid is becoming more of a straight up building where you have about the same number of people putting in as taking out.
Well, now we're living longer, and then the government's has to figure out they got to do the culling, the thing you never heard. There we go, guys.
Okay. Thanks, John. We appreciate it.
Yeah, well, means test is probably what would be needed to manage that humanely.
Well, yeah, but there's always this. It's interesting. When I was with the county, I'm paying now more for Medicare and my medical expenses through Medicare than I was, when I was with the county and things like that. It's sometimes the way it's put together. Anyway, regardless of that, we're switching here a little bit with Ed Serpolis, who's an old friend, also a pollster. And Keith, why don't you take it away and introduce Ed? Are you on with us?
Yes, I'm sir, on with you.
Great. Now, I understand you did a poll for the Black Caucus and about priorities that they're looking for here in the state of Michigan, which may not ring as much as what perhaps the campaigns ran on and what people are looking for actual help from, or at least direction of what they think the state government should go on. So
yeah,
go ahead, Keith.
Me and Ed, we are good friends, and we talk all every once in a while about the things that happen in African American race and how they always want to push policies on us, but they never want to listen to us. Okay, and so when we come back with stuff, we get it gets diminished. So I went to Ed. I said, Ed, I just want to do a poll to see how at the current state how black folks are thinking. And so Ed, could you take it from there?
Yeah, give us the background of it. How many people and statewide and everything else.
Well,
go ahead.
Essentially, several weeks ago, the Black Caucus asked me to poll black voters here in Michigan and to take a look at their issues, how they look at the job the first a month or so of Gretchen Whitmer being in office, looking at whether or not she'll make a difference as governor on their issues, does she care about them? Looking at areas of poverty and improving education, providing skills and access to funds for small business. But the key one was looking what are their issues? Okay? What are their issues that they care about?
What's the priority?
Basically, it's jobs, and number two, it's education. Healthcare. Excuse me. What I mean by jobs is more than not. It's more than just get me a job. It's basically prepare me for the job, or how do I get a better job? Or how do I get a job that pays more? How do we improve what I'm making? So it's not, there isn't like everybody black that doesn't have a job, but the job doesn't seem to go anywhere. It just stays at the same level. They never improve. So
you're always getting minimum wage, basically,
yes, right.
Is what it is?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. So what were the top three again? Were what, Ed?
The top, you've got jobs, you got healthcare, you've got education, and then you got senior citizens, but those were the top at the top of the list. But roads was like down at the bottom. It was only at 9% of voters said roads. And I tell people, I said, when you look at if you look at urban cores, I don't care if it's Detroit or Saginaw or Flint or whatever like that. If you're struggling to have a job, pay your daily living, stuff like that, you may not even have a car to drive.
Yeah, you're taking a bus or public transportation or something, maybe.
You public transportation, and it doesn't mean that they're against roads. The fact is, well, how's that helping me today? Bottom line, I would like to have a car that I can use the roads on, and I need to pay for my family. I want to get ahead. And so it's access the opportunity, and the same thing. Now, on the other side, it's not that they're against Gretchen. The fact is, you got to remember the last 2-3 years. There's a wait and see what Gretchen's going to do. In 2017, Gretchen didn't spend much time in Detroit prepping for the race or visiting or doing events and during the election cycle until Sharif Allendar got in the race, and Al-Sayed got in the race, and she started to focus on a lot of different issues, and you saw that. And then you still got the Thor thing amongst the black community, the fact of what happened at the April Democratic Caucus, convention. And so they're hoping things for change. But
you mean for Attorney General? You mean
for Attorney General? Yes.
Yeah.
You got to remember is that Gretchen was perceived as the head of the party. Okay, she was presumed going to be to win. The fact is that you didn't help us back then. Get the person we felt should be representing us, and now you didn't spend a lot of time in the city, and now we're looking at our issues. Here's what our issues are. We're hoping for change. We want you to do a good job. 40% say that the fact that they think she's doing a good job. But as we mentioned the last time I was on your show about you, Keith, is the fact that it's like she only got about 20 to 22% of the vote voted for Bill Schuette. Okay?
33%. Remember the poll, Ed? Wow. 33% of folks voted for Bill Schuette.
Yeah, well, it actually got down to about 20 on the election. But the point being is that the black community is no longer monolithic. Okay, they're no longer 100% Democrat. They're 6% Republican. You got another percent. You got like 78% solid Democrat.
I saw in your poll, Ed, that there were some questions about whether they thought the governor, Gretchen, was going to be able to relate to them or was supportive of them, and
yes,
44% or something. That number stuck in my mind.
Well, one that cares very much about black families, 40% said yes, she does. Okay, it's not 100%, and is that the question is that. Are they happy that she's governor versus Bill Schuette? Definitely. Okay, but the point being is that they're still waiting to see, is this going to be different from the last 8 years or the Granholm years or the Blanchard years? Is there going to be a change? They're hopeful, but they're not convinced. And the other reason they're not convinced, and I don't want to say hit negative on Gretchen, they understand, they see what's happening in Washington. They see what partisan split, and they see what's happening in Lansing. People aren't working together, so they're hopeful, but they're not sure nothing's going to change.
But Ed, I say this. If she don't deliver, there's going to be hell to pay in the Democratic Party, because people are tired of being pushed, the issues pushed down their throat, and they always want us to rally behind their issues, but they never want to help us with our issues. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh, I do that, and as a matter of fact, Steve and I talked the other day, and then I was talking on another show on Radio 910. Is the fact is that when you're looking at the 2020 election, okay, when you come to Michigan, what's going to dominate the Democratic Party? It's going to be Gary Peters' re-election for U.S. Senate, okay? So that's going to be the focus of the party. Well, we haven't
heard very much from Gary lately, have we?
Well, if you're part of his email team or a fundraising team, you get like
I get the fundraisers all the time. Yeah,
but the question is, what has Gary done?
Well, question. I agree with you. Part of that is what they're also in the minority. But the point being is where's the outreach? When I go back to Carl Levin, and I go back to Phil Hart, now I'm dating myself. But the point being,
named the Senate building after him.
Yeah,
Hart building.
The key thing is the fact is that you've got to stay in touch. When Carl Levin was a U.S. Senator, he would spend more time on getting around the state than there was a Debbie did, or even the Republican one. He was always very active in the community. And Detroit is saying, where is our elected officials? Okay.
Yeah, I was just on a TV show with Carl the other day. He's still going around and talking about stuff.
But let me share this with you, Ed. I've been talking to the Western Michigan Black Caucus, and they don't want to be called the Black Caucus. They want to be a nonpartisan group, because in their area they got Republicans like in Benton Harbor. You got Grand Rapids. There's round Republicans, and they want to get fed. So they think
they got to work. They got to work with somebody,
right? But I said it's the Black Caucus is a partisan group. We elect Democrats, but the bottom line is the Democratic Party got to show those folks that they can make a difference in their lives.
Okay. Well, we got, if you don't mind, Ed, we got a number of callers that are lining up here. So, Bill, you're on with Ed Serpolis and with the panel here.
Yeah, but the problem with the caucus, like he's saying, you got a lot of black folks want to be represented from the Democratic Party, but for the last 40 years, some of the Democrats in the state of Michigan act like they're Republicans.
And that is true.
Yeah.
That's true.
I mean, but you have to admit that the party is definitely going much more left than what it was previously.
But
I mean, you're looking at it now. It's different than the party I knew.
But Bob, there's racism in the left. like from the standpoint of this, Bernie Sanders, I just saw a poll right there with Hillary. He only got 6% of the black vote. Hillary got 91% of the black vote. Okay, Bob, black folks just want their fair share. We just want to be able to participate.
We want to be at the table.
Yeah, we want to be able to raise our family. We want to be able to educate our children. But the left want to push their issue down somebody's throat, but they don't want to be inclusive when they're doing it.
Well, that's what happened at the convention. Okay? That's what happened at the convention. That's the reason why
the position that Keith got now, hopefully in the future, you can change some attitudes towards some of the people around the state, and maybe we'll have some unity, because the word is out. There's no unity. You have a lot of people had an attitude during election time come, ain't no different than the Democrats or the Republicans, and that's why the racism thing has been so bad in Michigan, especially with the Democrat Party. It's ridiculous, man.
But Bill, isn't there a little bit of default here? Because look at 2020. I mean, I can't imagine Detroit or the African-American community going for Trump whatsoever. I mean, because of the default of who's on the other side, the Democrats are naturally going to benefit from
Bob,
this.
They always put us in that bind. You have no choice to go with the Democratic Party. I'm a Democrat through and through, but guess what? You got to improve our lives, Bob. We're not asking for a handout. We're just asking for a hand up, and we need to be in the process of you making decisions. When you go, you get elected, you start putting a lot of white guys and stuff. Come on, man. We're not monolithic, but at the end of the day, we just want to be at the table.
Well, the interesting thing to me is...
Why do you have other cultures that put money in the Democrat Party and they put money in the Republican Party? That way, whoever wins, they're going to...
They're hedging their bets.
Yeah, I mean, the big corporation elites are going to do that. They put it in both, believe me.
Yes.
They put it in both.
Yeah, we put all
I want to say one thing. What I say, Keith.
Yes.
Keith, the other thing that you have to take a look at the fact is that, and I got to be sensitive here to the fact, is that the Democratic Party has had a lot of black leaders in the party, but the black leaders in the party have not been very active in helping get the party to move in that direction either.
I agree, Ed. I'm not saying the total party. Yeah, there's some black politicians I have fought too, okay? But the bottom line is this: who cares for these people? You know, I'm in Detroit. I was born in Detroit. I got educated in Detroit. I came back to Detroit. I feel for Detroit. And when I was a county commissioner, I tried to do the best I can for my people. But guess what? We had, in the county, we had a situation where we could help a little bit. But what about the Democratic Party as a whole?
Well, what I just was hearing a minute ago is that that there weren't people, black people, helping to move the Democratic Party in a direction which I think you were implying was to the left. But we have, like, for instance, Willie Burton was the chair in Southeast Michigan for the Bernie Sanders campaign, and you're mentioning Bernie Sanders not having a lot of African-American support, but Willie Burton had turned around Billy Sanders.
When it came to being hired
Sanders,
and stuff, they didn't hire him.
They didn't hire him.
That ended up getting the Michigan vote in the primary.
Yeah, I mean, he was very instrumental in that. He was helping. He was running Detroit and that kind of thing.
Bernie Sanders.
But then when they went to go back, and Bernie and them were joining together with Hillary and saying, "Okay, we got to put together the Michigan plan," they didn't even consider him.
And you look at
African American.
Just look at Bernie's history in African America is 0 to none.
Yeah, he has a problem. He has a definite problem with that.
And I know I'm going to get off the line. All I'm going to say is this is why you have so many black folks now would tell you that they independent. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks, Bill. James, you're on with Ed Soprolis, Bob Ficano, and with Keith Williams, and with Scotty Boman.
Okay, here's one of the questions I got to ask Ed, and I've been in Oakland County for years. Ed, once again, how many people do you call to get a survey where people think you're an expert? And I look at it like this: out of millions of people, I think you call probably 1,000 people. How many people do you call to get this survey? And why is Detroiters dependent on an Ed as a poster and depending on your results? I don't see it, and I never got called from you, Ed. Whose phone numbers do you have? Just 20 people?
First of all,
it's a science. It's a science. But go ahead, Ed. Go ahead.
Well, first of all, There's about 750,000 active black African-American voters in the state of Michigan, okay? You're one of 750,000 that vote on a regular basis, okay? And a scientific sample being a plus or minus error, whatever you want to call it, I'm going to complete.
Hey, brother, hold on.
Let him talk,
Let
James.
him talk, brother.
Let him talk, James.
Okay, so the bottom line. Well, I do polls, probably about 20 polls a year, and each year I interview about 2,000 to 3,000 African Americans, okay, in Michigan. And I'm sorry you haven't gotten called. I think Keith told me not to call. I'm just kidding you, Keith.
Hey, don't put me out there like that, Ed.
Hold on. Keith started to stop calling Bob's name because I thought that was his girlfriend. So go back to what you were saying.
What are you talking about?
What are you talking
about, man?
Okay.
Bye.
The other thing is the fact that, and when you're doing polling, in fact, it's a random sample of African Americans. Okay, I don't specifically call specific lists. I know Detroit makes up a third of the black voter. You got SAG. So I got to take black voters from all across the state as they contribute to the vote on election day. Okay, and I'm sorry you haven't gotten called. My mom's never gotten called. Okay, I've never gotten called from a pollster. But the point being,
I haven't either. Just my dad.
Yeah, just your dad. So the point being is that it's done this, and it's not to say I'm the only voice, but people tell you there have been other pollsters have done this or the party's done it, but they never released the results. Correct, Keith? They never released the results.
And what I'm trying to do, Rob, is let folks know that we're relevant too. And I'm trying to find out what is happening in our communities. And the bottom line is, Ed has given me some good information. Guess what? Everybody's listening to our information too now.
Yeah.
Because the Black Caucus has never done that in the past. Am I right or wrong, Ed?
Oh, well, remember, 2 years ago and 4 years ago, there was an annual black party. There was a black poll done every 2 years. No one ever saw those results. Correct?
Who did that, Ed? The party?
The party paid for it. Okay, and also and sometimes the candidate, sometimes the senators, the
candidate. Well,
the candidate at the point whether it's Obama or the party, but usually the party does a poll. It's paid for by the party leaders. Okay. But it's kept internal, but it never gets out, okay? And what Keith says is, well, and he comes to me first. I'm born and raised in Detroit. I'm in Detroit every week, back visiting my family and friends and all that kind of stuff. And so for me, Detroit is important to me because this is my home, and I'll be there. I'll be in Detroit 2 times this week visiting friends and working with my clients. But the key thing is I'm one of the few people who is willing, when the poll comes out, no matter which results are, I'm willing to go on radio and TV and share the results with everybody. And the other thing is those who know me as a pollster, fact is I've been doing this since '72. I started with George Cushionberry, when he ran houses. I was working the house way back then. And the media understands, they get to see they know how I work. And one of the things being a pollster is the fact, does the media use you? Does the public know who you are? Because there's a lot of pollsters, but a lot of times they put out polls, but no one knows who they are, so the media never runs them. So Keith came to me because of the fact I'm known in the community, and I do a lot of polls. Bob, you and I have been done battles back and forth, but the polls are the polls. Those are the numbers.
But Ed, what I liked is that, the whole issue was Rose. She ran on Rose, and I get that. But then I want to specifically know about my people, okay, who's been loyal, who gives, has been giving blood, sweat, and tears. A lot of people, Bob, don't know about this stuff about politics and policy. So what I'm trying to do is give them a smorgasbord of things so they can start thinking about their future.
Well, do you think that she'll be helped, Ed, with the announcement from Chrysler about you talk about jobs and right away, they bring up the jobs on the Chrysler deal that was just announced this past week. Do you think that's going to bolster her?
Well, that'll help her out, but I tell you, Bob, you were with county for a number of years. The one thing is, in fact, many large corporations in Detroit sign these agreements to hire Detroiters, but they never really do. They always figure out some way not to hire them. You know that, okay?
Yeah, right. They make it an art.
Yes, okay. And as a matter of fact, that's what happened in building of the stadium, So the key thing, the fact is these jobs are important because they keep jobs in the community, bring locals, that kind of thing. But the question is get it down to the neighborhoods that really need the help, okay? Because some of these jobs coming with Chrysler are going to require engineering skills, a certain amount of degrees or welding skills. That still leaves out a lot of these people that we talk to, okay? And that's what's important, in fact. And I know that right now there's a city signed a contract with the labor union to do some more training to help people in Detroit get jobs. But the point being is we got to get the corporate people to assist when they say they're going to help Detroiters. They do something, some kind of apprenticeship. They get them to get these jobs because just to say jobs have come, if I can't get them because I don't have the skills, it doesn't make any difference if they build the plants in Detroit because I can't get them anyway.
You know, and Rashida came out last week or this week talking about this. They need to come clean. What's your plan to get folks up in the...
Part of the issue around it is that, you know, there was so much attention to Amazon and in New York and the
Right.
credits that were, you know, that they were able to leverage the city with. And now is Chrysler doing that a little bit the same way, but it's our understanding that the actual tax credits and things like that aren't going to be public until after the board meets, the Economic Development Board up in Lansing meets, as to what's going to be
I
offered
heard they
to the
might get a
city.
12-year abatement.
No, I think what they're now, Ed, when I was coming, exactly, the only reason there is a special tax that has been passed, abatement for General Motors and for Ford, and I think that they're trying to leverage in and get the same abatement that those two have.
That is correct. That is correct.
Yeah, it
But you gotta
surfaced a little bit when General Motors announced the layoffs, and they said, "Look, you're getting all of these, you know, abatements and stuff." The original agreement, and it was sort of quiet. It was at the end of her Granholm's administration. I believe it was Fred Hoffman that actually negotiated it. That came from Chrysler, and there's a special tax abatement for generally the automotives, and I think Chrysler's trying to latch into that.
That's true, but the problem is the reason why it's not moving as quickly as they should, because the fact is General Motors is closing and leaving jobs in the city, but they never follow through. So bottom line is, GM got all this money up front. Are they going to be penalized? So the problem is there's a pushback right now in Lansing and around the state is, well, you do this for the Ford and GM. Ford's been a little bit, but GM has basically took all of this, but they haven't returned the money that they took for, say, they're going to do it. Now they're taking jobs. So Chrysler has got a double problem here. The fact is that they're not against it. Chrysler, you can do what GM did. We're going to give you this, and then you're going to stop doing this. That's where the issue is.
And then another thing, too, Ed, there's a fear factor in the African-American community, what's happening with downtown, with the Elages and Dan Gilbert. And then you got Midtown controlled by the mayor of Midtown, and you got Peter Cummings and his group. Then you got the neighborhoods being swallowed up, and so black folks are really scared. How do we fit?
Gentrification
is going on.
Yeah, you're right, because now you got the Illinois corridor. You got all these corridors now in Detroit that are coming back great. I mean, because I get around Detroit, there's a lot of development going on in Detroit. The question is, who's benefiting and who's in charge and who has a say?
Yes.
It's also regional, because over on the east side, for instance, I'm not seeing that much. In fact, there's still businesses closing down as rapidly as new ones are opening up. In fact, yeah, I'd even say perhaps a slight decline in the number of businesses along some of the major routes like East Warren and that.
We realize that African-Americans realize Chrysler is a big thing, would never hire like they used to hire. But we want to have access to capital. You know, everybody's not geared for a job, Bob. Let somebody explore their possibilities.
Well, and Ed raises it. It also means we don't know how many are engineering, technical jobs, and things like that, which is, there's nothing wrong with that because that pays a good salary. But at the same time, is the training there to make sure that you're able to get those type of jobs. I mean, if you're not an engineer, you're not going to get an engineering job.
Bob,
you got to remember, Bob, when you and I were in high school, we could actually go to the autos and they would give you the skills. You could come in at the
they had their own internal internal building trades.
You know,
it basically is what they did.
My father worked at Chrysler.
A lot of us, because I remember in high school, man, if I stayed around, I could end up very quickly, get up to about $26 an hour back then. And that's
I know. I had a lot of friends. Now they're all retired from Ford and Chrysler and stuff.
Bob, this is in a larger contextual standpoint. Poverty is a subset of lack of resources. When the plants closed, our economy started to was shot in the African American communities. Then the schools started closing. It was caused by those folks in power. They caused the whole problem, Bob. And so what you expect people to do? If they don't have jobs, what they gonna rob? Oh, they got to survive, Bob. And so if you close down schools, You come up with the schools of choice. It's all political. Who's in control?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of distrust now. I know with General Motors closing down, although they gave a reprieve to the Hamtramck plant for another year.
Yeah, but guess what's that?
Yeah.
That's slow death.
Yeah.
That's slow death.
It's hard to tell if they're leveraging that for the contract negotiations coming up. I mean, there's all these games being played, and I think people become more concerned, and they don't put the trust into what's actually being told to them.
Bob, these politicians, and I once were, if you can't get your job done, then move on, because people's lives are at stake now. We got young folks that are not being educated. We got people being displaced. Politicians, if you want to go down and collect a check, drive corporate cars and city cars, then do your job.
You know, when Councilman Spivey was over at a meeting I was at yesterday talking about that new plant, one thing is he passed out a map, and all the surrounding neighborhoods are considered effective neighborhoods, and they're going to have to close off a lot of major roads, and there's going to be a lot of industrial vehicles on the residential streets.
Yeah, which raises a whole new area of when you're going to fix the roads. In fact, I've written articles on this. Is the time to change Public Act 51 because, everybody gets an equal part of it, yet the roads that are beat up the most probably should be prioritized. But that's a whole different argument. I'll tell you what, we're coming up against the break, and we got to ask everybody to hold on. Ed, if you don't mind holding on with us a little longer.
Sure.
Rick and Mathis, can you hold on, and we'll get right back to both of you as soon as we get through the break. You listen to 910 AM, the Superstation.
I don't want to come across.
The 910 AM app has been integrated with Alexa and is now live in the App Store. To use 910 AM on your Alexa device, you can say Alexa commands in two ways. If your Fire TV device has a microphone button, you can hold down the microphone button to say the commands. If you've linked your Echo or Echo Dot to your Fire TV, you can use the trigger word Alexa without pushing your microphone buttons to say commands. Start listening to 910 AM station now from the comfort of your home. Stay up to date with current events and breaking news on our Facebook page. Search and like 910 AM Superstation on Facebook, and you'll see everything new, everything exciting, and all things Detroit. 910 AM Superstation News on Facebook Live right now. We got the topics, the guests, the opinions, and the facts.
This weekend.
Right here. 910 AM Superstation. It's the best day party in town on 910 AM Superstation with Chuck Bennett. Weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m.
Have you been denied credit or hit with high interest rates? A low credit score happens to many of us, and millions of people are victims of incorrect items on their credit reports and don't even know it. That's why you need credit repair now. Our proven process has resulted in past clients seeing on average 11 negative items removed from their credit report and a 40-point increase after the first 4 months in our program. Call now and request your credit report and credit score for free in minutes.
Call 1-800-783-9197.
The 910 AM radio app is now available on iTunes, Google Play, and the Amazon App Store. And guess what? It's free. Listen to all of your radio favorites on the go. It's quick, it's easy, and it's brand new just for you. The new 910 AM radio app. Download it today.
Listen up, America. Are you or a loved one suffering with an addiction to alcohol, opiates, prescription painkillers, or other drugs? There is hope. Medication-assisted treatment is proven most effective for opiate addiction recovery. Utilizing medications such as methadone, Suboxone, and Subutex, combined with inpatient treatment, you can achieve lasting recovery. Most insurance is accepted, so call us now.
Please call 800-625-5860.
So you've decided to go to college. That's cool. So pop quiz. Which is a better way to earn your degree? Commute to college and fill your gas tank, get stuck in traffic, drive in bad weather, try to find a parking space, walk a half mile to class, or learn online at Independence University. You don't go to college. College goes to you. That's independence. That's Independence University. And all your supplies, including a brand new laptop and tablet, are included with tuition. Independence You for an independent you.
Call 1-800-556-7791.
Do you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS? If so, you may qualify for the IRS's Fresh Start program. The Fresh Start program is one of the biggest tax
hernia surgery between 2010 and 2016 and then suffered serious complications, call right now. You may be entitled to financial compensation. Complications associated with physomesh include chronic pain, infection, adhesions, mesh migration, reopening of the hernia, and other serious injuries. Call right now.
Call 1-800-799-2091. Again, that's 1-800-799-2091.
We're the hottest station in town. Whatever you need, it's right here on 910 AM Superstation. The most powerful voices in the urban community.
3, 2, 1.
You're listening to 910 AM Superstation. You're listening to 910 AM Superstation.
The best in the city.
WFDF Farmington Hills, Detroit, 910 AM Superstation, a division of Adele Media.
And good morning. You're listening to 910 AM, the Superstation. My name is Robert Ficano. You can join us at 313-778-7600. That's 313-778-7600. We have with us Ed Serpolis, a pollster, professional pollster. At I can tell you that the results are reliable. I mean, there's this isn't your typical monkey survey or anything like that. They actually go out and call people and actually get the results. That takes a lot of time and energy and resources. Also, Scotty Boman and Keith Williams, who is chair of the Michigan Democratic Black Caucus, among many of the other hats that he wears. We have a number of callers on, Ed, so we're going to get to some of them to clear the deck here a little bit. Rick, you're on with the panel. Mr. Serpolis.
Hey, good morning. I can't hit all the issues I'd like, but I wanted to just point out as I've watched this particular rollout come up, the politicians and the public administrators, I'm just a regular citizen. Where we see and feel our problem is that they collect the claims without a sharing agreement, right? And there's no policy.
We talk about...
In essence, what happens is they go and they deal with the purchasing of property in these areas, or they begin these kinds of plans, and you never hear about and hear from...
Okay, the way you know what, Rick, the way you deal with that, if you think there should be community benefits that are attached to any type of, like the Chrysler deal and stuff like that, it's actually technically not only the mayor, but the city council eventually has to vote on it to approve it. So what? I
wasn't going to go as far up as to mention the benefits, the community benefits agreement, because I don't know who the community is that would make the agreement. But in terms of people,
city of Detroit, man.
Yeah, Detroit would do it.
But I'm saying that's an assumption of who the people are that the elected officials know. But just on my one point, I think that it's helpful, whether it's the council person, Spivey, or some private agency, or even somebody like Keith, right? If they're going to go over there and they're going to talk or organize or work on behalf of these people, then they should have some kind of sharing agreement for what those people are saying. In other words, they should not be allowed to
That's a community benefits. That's community benefits, Rick. That's exactly what it is.
That's the next level. The first level is community organizing before you get to the agreement.
But you can't take too much time organizing because the deal's going to be cut, and you're not going to have anything.
There actually are a series of meetings
Now you hit. That's right. Now you hit my point. Everything seems to work like that. Meaning we don't want to really gather up and deal with the people until it's moving, and we want it done suddenly, and we want them to pick sides real quick and keep moving them. And all I'm saying is that in issues and places like this, even before this development comes up, you can have a better handle on where the citizens.
Yeah, but if you don't know what they're going to, Rick, leave it this way. If you don't know what they're going to take, in other words, what property they're going to ask for and things like that, it's much harder to define what the benefit should be. I got to know what the footprint is in order to give back the benefit to the community that I'm getting in exchange for these tax credits.
What we were doing with the poll, Rick, what we were doing with the poll, we were trying to see where we are at. And we was trying to get a flavor of how black folks are, what they're thinking about issues that affect their communities. And, so.
I was just going to add that you're right, and I appreciate what you're trying to do. I'm just saying that some of that information that may be shared with you as you try to discover, I don't like that distance of a survey. I like to get people's actual claims. But given what you find, I'd like to see that stuff shared.
But Rick, we appreciate it. We got a number of callers. If you're looking for the survey, is the survey posted online?
Yeah, we get posted, so we'll post.
We're going to post the survey online.
Over there want to protest. Who do they call?
Yeah. Okay. Rick, we have a number of callers. We appreciate it. Thanks for calling in. Okay. Mathis, you're on with Bob Ficano, Keith Williams, and Ed Serpolis, and Scotty Boman.
Hey, good morning, fellas. I appreciate you guys this morning.
Sure.
I'm just calling in. I'm representing the SKEET program, and it's a skilled trades enrollment application program. And we created a model that destroys what has already been built by every org that's getting public funding. That money doesn't reach the people because it's not for the people, right? So anytime you open up a contract to demolish houses in the city, and you got the money to buy the equipment, train the people, and employ the people, and you actually got equipment, train the people, and then hire a contractor to come in and do the work. Detroit doesn't have to hire people to come in and do work. Demolishing homes and all that, that's just money that could be in the people's pocket.
Okay, but you need, Matthew, you need certifications and so you don't have situations where if it's toxic dirt being buried and stuff like that.
Sir, I'm a skilled tradesman, and having certifications is what they're doing at those programs. Everybody that goes through those programs has asbestos removal. And
I realize that, but the problem is there hasn't been enough African Americans that have been able to get through those programs in order to participate.
No. We had over 500 enrollees in our program. We don't have the capacity to take the people on that we have. There is more than enough, right? So they will say you don't have enough, but you got 10 orgs, right, doing the same specific enrollment for skilled trades. There is enough, right? I know people who personally graduated those programs and are sitting at home. And I was at the skilled trade task force meeting with Brenda Jones and a young man.
Let me share this with you. You can go to all the skilled the task force meetings all you want. It's got to be somebody's going to help you get contracts. After you got to be able to use your skills that you went through the education process.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so guess what? That's political, brother. That's who controls.
It's not political. That's what I'm trying to get you guys to understand. It's not political.
It is political, man. Who controls the contract? Control the parts.
I don't know why you're hollering. I don't know why you're hollering. I don't know why.
Brother, we got other calls too. We got other calls, man.
Okay, so Mathis,
because you're not aware.
Mathis, what's your group? What's your organization that works with the skilled?
My name is Marcus. My name is Marcus. The program is STEAP.org. STEAP.org.
Okay, we're gonna look at it. We'll look at it
in the community.
Okay, thanks, Marcus. We appreciate it. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Next we have Tony up. Tony, you're on with Ed Serpolis, Bob Ficano, Keith Williams, and Scotty Boman.
Good morning, gentlemen. Thanks for taking my call. Well, I want to talk about the tax abatements in relationship to the community benefits agreement. And to me, if Chrysler wants tax abatement, they know the jobs that they need to fill. They could get into a alliance or a partnership with trade schools to make sure that the people there are getting trained for the jobs that they're going to need. And example, and this has nothing to do with community benefits agreement, however, there's a cybersecurity company who partnered up with Wayne County Community College District, and they actually started at 10th, 11th grade to prepare students to go into the program at Wayne County Community College so that when they finish, they would have jobs with that cybersecurity company. And to me, that's just logical, and it makes sense if you care about the community and you want a tax abatement and you want to be in the community.
Tony, what raises an interesting question. We're talking about, we don't really know what jobs, when you say 6,500, now we know that the survey that Ed took said that, you know, they want jobs and things like that. Ed made an interesting comment, and he's right. Back in the day, and we're all dating ourselves, is that if you're talking about skilled trades, the auto industry itself, actually, you could come walk out of high school and you could go into the plant, and they actually trained you as a skilled trades person that was in the plant, because they have to do changeover. I mean, there's a lot of things that are involved that requires skilled trades. If that might be one of the community benefits they might look at and say, you know what, from now on, any skilled trades you need, you bring them in and you start to train them for what's necessary to participate within the facility and things like that. Because right now, you probably got to be a skilled trades, and you get your training outside of the auto industry, and then you join them once you have those skill set.
I think the training would probably be more appropriate, too, because they're training people to work in their plant. They would want them to have exactly the skills
But the bottom line is, if this thing is going down to community benefits, I was doing a poll to find out how we feel. Okay, but where's this? You know, Bob, it's all political. Who controls the goal, controls controls everything. Okay, so how do we not only talk about skilled trades, how do we get people in entrepreneurship? How do we get access to capital and that kind of stuff? You know what I'm
Yeah, and the Democratic candidates are talking about that, but I haven't heard a solution. I haven't heard a solution of how they're actually proposing to get the capital in and stuff like that.
Yes. So
they talk about it. I've heard them talk about it on their interviews.
Ed, so you get your flavor, you get the flavor of the call, Ed. So what is the next poll we should come up with? You know, because...
Thanks, Tony. Thanks for calling in. We appreciate it.
I had one more.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so the universities who are affiliated with who set up charter schools or churches, and then people come out of school not very literate, and then they go to college and they get degrees in areas that there are no jobs for. I mean, it's like there's no logical thinking. It's like, why would you enforce and give loans and grants to a field that there's no feasibility in having a standard of living, cost of living wage when you come out with a degree, and then you end up owing loans, student loan debt, and you can't even afford the cost of living.
You know, sister, I'm going to tell you this. At the Black Caucus, I want to do a summer with all in Wayne County. We have 4 African-American presidents of colleges. Dr. Ivy at Wayne County Community College, Dr. Gerald Bali at University of Troy, Dr. Jefferson at Schoolcraft, and Wayne State Wilson. Wayne County is the largest county in the state of Michigan. There should be some collective ideas how we take a person who don't want to go to college, but he can access to capital, give them the skill sets so he can take care of himself. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's not monolithic. Everybody's not going to be an engineer and all this other stuff. Because where they getting ready to do it, they can wipe out engineers too. If they drive these cars, you get these cars without, the autonomous cars.
Believe me, you'll need engineers for that.
But guess what, Bob? But guess what? They're going to need some kind of engineer.
Yeah, mobility.
Teaching, financial literacy so that people can develop creative, analytical, entrepreneurial mind, and to gauge what's going to sell and how they can get into business and have the financial literacy to be able to negotiate and network with people who have like minds. And, I mean, just do something. It's like, just be analytical and logical and practical.
But, sister, think about this. The underground economy, I don't want to put a negative connotation, ghetto economics. If we control our own economics in the African-American community, we can put people to work, we can stabilize our communities, and then we can get our people educated because we controlling the narrative in our communities. Stop letting everybody else control the narrative in our communities.
Yeah, Keith, I concur with you on this because I think actually there is a great deal of overregulation of small businesses and people having to face a lot of licensing hurdles. If they just want to open up a shop, if you want to set up a small stand or a storefront, the amount of regulations one actually has to go through to do that as a legitimate business is quite challenging. A lot of times the people get to do it for a while because effectively the authorities look the other way, but as soon as you start to succeed, then you get shut down because
the insurances,
braiding hair.
Hold on, the insurances, the payroll taxes, all that stuff are stifling the small business in the city of Detroit. So you force them to work out of their houses, you force them to work in their garages and stuff. But if we just control our own narrative, sister, we got to stop begging the infrastructure to do something for us, and we need to start doing for ourselves. Put that intellectual capital together and try to make our communities better.
Okay, thanks, Tony. Thanks for calling in. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Okay, Ed, now he started to ask you what future polling you think we should do regarding the African-American community.
We have to do the fact is there's got to be, and Keith and I've talked about, we can do this through shows or whatever like that. We just got to get more specific on where people are struggling. Okay?
Yes.
Because if you're going to do this, and all of us have been around, some of those issues, I've been a lobbyist, I've done other things. We got to get the broader scope of things. What are the real issues or what's struggling? Okay, we got to actually quantify some things. The surveys are always there to see if there's been any movement. Okay, because remember, politicians don't like report cards, so we can always do this report card. But we're going to have to dig a little bit deeper. What do we need to help solve? What was holding them back? Why did your situation? And now we got to put some faces on these numbers. And when I've done a lot of work with the media, we got to take this and say we got to get people's permission to use their names and faces in the poll. And why are they struggling? Why are they hurting? That's where we got to go next because we got to put some faces to this information.
Okay. I'll tell you what, we're coming up on a break. Ed, I don't know if you can stay with us or not.
I got some other things to take care of my mom, but thank you for the time.
All right, thank you. We want to thank you for coming. We appreciate it very, very much. Did a great job. I look forward to more polling and that Keith was able to bring you on.
Yeah, I'm going to work with him on some stuff.
All right, thanks a lot. You have a great Sunday. Theo and Marcia, hold on. We're going to get to you right after the break. You're listening to 910 AM, the Superstation.
Like you said, man,
Hi, I'm Hunter Ellis, and this is Atomic Beam USA. Another bright idea from Bulbhead, the ultra-bright, tough-grade flashlight that features tactical technology used by U.S. Special Forces. This flashlight has a feeble 125 lux output. The Atomic Beam USA has up to 5,000 lux. That's 40 times more. We're going to drop it hundreds of feet from this helicopter. It hits the tarmac, and it's still working. That's what I call a tough flashlight. Heavy downpours, mud puddles, even extreme temperatures are no match. You could spend over $100, or the Atomic Beam USA can be yours for just $19.99 with free lifetime guarantee. Order now, you can double it and get a second Atomic Beam USA. Just pay a separate fee, and we'll even ship them to you for free. Atomic Beam USA is just $19.99. Order now.
Call 1-800-638-2619 to get your Atomic Beam USA. Call now or go to atomicbeam.com. So call 1-800-638-2619. Deluxe version available. Order now.
We all love fried food, but the problem is all that excess oil and fat can cause you to become overweight. Well, now there's the Cook Light Aero Fryer, an amazing kitchen miracle that uses air to fry instead of oil. So you can have the same delicious flavor and crispiness of deep frying using little or no oil. Get that deep fried taste and crispiness with up to 70% fewer calories. Enjoy crispy, delicious fries with little or no oil. Guilt-free onion rings, cheesy and delicious mozzarella sticks. Call now and bring the Cook Light Aero Fryer into your home, including the Cook Light Aero Fryer recipe book, the unique patented dual tray, air frying mesh basket and tongs, and stainless steel extender ring. You'll get it all for 5 easy payments of $29.95. Be one of the first 500 callers and get this 13-piece knife set, a $175 value, yours free. Try Cook Light Aero Fryer for 30 days. If you don't love it, send it back. But keep the 13-piece knife set as our gift to you. Order in the next 10 minutes and we'll include free shipping. Call now or go online to air2fry.com. That's air2fry.com.
Good morning. You're listening to 910 AM, the Superstation. I'm here today with Scotty Boman and Keith Williams. We just had Ed Serpolis on that had a survey indicating what African Americans are looking for throughout the state of Michigan. And the top 3 things, roads was near the bottom, actually. The top 3 things were jobs, education,
and healthcare.
And healthcare were the top 3 things that they're looking for, that they're hoping that the state government's going to respond to, and the new governor and things like that.
You know, and I just want people to think, I'm not trying to go against Gretchen. God support Gretchen, but I just don't want us to be forgotten.
Yeah, you want to be at the table.
We want to be at the table. We want to be at the table, and don't go get the same guys you've been getting all the time. Okay, let's bring some new folks to the table.
You got it. All right, we have some callers on here. Theo, you're on with the panel.
Happy Sunday to all of you. And I like the idea. New people at the table. Listen, I want to talk about the 6,500 jobs that are being waved under the noses of people in Detroit. Now, help me with this. There is a union, correct? We're talking the automotive industry.
Sure, the UAW will represent those workers, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm. So now, the opening of the plant with the 6,500 jobs, if they have people laid off, right, those people who are laid off have the ability to bump any new person who is hired in. Is that correct?
Yeah, in most contracts they can. It depends. There's different contracts treated different ways, but generally that's the rule.
Right, and particularly the automotive industry contracts. So my question is, how many people are laid off? What's the anticipated opening of this factory they're talking about? And how many new jobs will actually be available? And is there any guarantee that the new hirees will be Detroiters?
Well, a couple things. The UAW probably can tell you right off the top how many people are actually laid off that would have a right to bump into one of the 6,500 jobs, and they probably could do that fairly easily.
You know, Theo, I'm at the mindset we have to start caring about poor people more, but they got to care about themselves a little bit more too. But the bottom line is leadership. you can say what you want to say about Coleman Young. Coleman Young cared. You can hate him for whatever, but he cared about Detroit. He cared about the citizenry. Our politicians have got, it seemed like they poll tested, and we just did a poll too. But the bottom line, there's got to be somewhere from the heart to want to make somebody's life better. The kids have got to get educated. How do we do that if your own middle class African Americans don't even live in the schools in the city where they educate the kids?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this whole thing is out of whack. Okay, and it gets back to sharing and caring for the voiceless.
I think one thing Theo was bringing up here, though, is that there may be a limit as to how much discretion the city really has in their arrangement with the new Chrysler
they always
people
put in a
moving
provision.
because
they
have their own
that they're
contract
supposed to
with
have
the
so many
union.
Detroiters that that they said they're going to hire that are going to be part of it, and we've seen in the past that a lot of times it's cheaper for the company to pay the fine than try to come in and actually live by the agreement.
That's true.
It's cheaper to pay the fine.
That's why I was asking about what is the guarantee of the numbers. And Scotty has attended the Hood Research meetings before, and I really would like to invite all of you to consider attending the Hood Research meetings, because there are many people who attend who don't spend a lot of time listening to the radio.
Well, we'll come, as chairman of the Black Caucus, I will come to your next meeting. You just tell me when. And I just wanted we did a polling. We're doing polling now. We come in with statistical data, just not coming up all stuff off the cuff and being emotional about it. We're really targeting how we can get our folks thinking about their own future.
Well, that would be great. Well, as a matter of fact, it's this coming Saturday, March the 9th at 2 o'clock from 2 p.m. until 6 p.m. And it's at the 12048 Grand River Dayboat Center on Grand River, Wyoming, right there on the corner of Grand River.
Well, I can do it after my radio show on next Saturday. I'll come by.
Wonderful.
Okay, so what exactly, what organization is it? Tell us now.
Hood Research. It's been in existence for 26 years. It's an organization that people trust. We have meetings on the second Saturday of each month, and we have speakers who come in, and we discuss the various issues that are affecting us in the community. We have been involved in a number of things. As a matter of fact, when the earthquake happened in Haiti, we asked people to check their closets, garages, and basements for medical equipment. We did not ask for any money donation. We just wanted the equipment that they no longer use. When crutches are used for 8 weeks, they're just tucked away someplace, not thrown away because they still have good quality. And we had the medical equipment sent to Haiti. When we heard about the people in Flint using water to wash their hands and their face, we know water is important to life. We asked people to donate hand sanitizer, handy wipes, paper goods.
Thea, it sounds like you're doing a lot of great things, and we appreciate it. So we have some callers to move on with. So you have a great Sunday, okay?
Saturday, thank you.
All right,
Thank you, Theo.
Marcia, you're on with the panel here, Bob Ficano, Keith Williams, and Scotty Boman.
Good morning, gentlemen. I was going to make that point about the type of jobs that Chrysler is bringing. They have people who are laid off. And then, Coleman Young Day factories was greasy, loud, boys. The factories they are clean enough to where you can eat off the floor.
Yeah, it's completely different than what it was.
Yeah, so what kind of jobs exactly are what level of education would people really have to work in the today's modern day factory? And so
I think you're going to have to be familiar with electronics a little bit.
You're going to have to have an engineer. You're going to have to have an engineer degree to work there.
Miss
So
Ed,
it's not like they're going to pull people from the neighborhoods into that factory.
Hey,
And
can
you
I
know
say
what?
this?
Chrysler knows what type of what level of education jobs that they have in that 6,000.
Can I say something, Marcia? Marcia, listen to this. I was over at the Chrysler training facility about 2 weeks ago. They invited me to talk about the sheriff because I'm the director of recruiting for jobs. They got a wonderful facilities over there. They are taking high school kids and showing them about manufacturing and all that other stuff. I take my hand off the Chrysler. I saw that. Fords are doing the same thing.
Where's it located?
It's on. It's in Warren. It's on 9 Mile. 3930 something. 390220. 9 Mile. It's right on the border of Hazel Park and Warren. It's a beautiful facility. Everybody should take a tour of it, man. I was impressed with it.
And this was this the joint UAW and Chrysler Training Center?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
It used to be in Jefferson, I thought.
Yes, but it's there now.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Marcia.
Yes. And so I think people, I'm not putting a whole lot of hope about the jobs that's coming, because if you keep up, with what is happening today, robotics in these factories, you are really going to have training to get in those factories. Yes, I agree with that. I mean, that's just the bottom line. And so I want to speak about Gary Peters and Debbie Stabenow. Earlier your conversation about them. They want citizens in America to go to jail if we criticize BDS. Gary Peters and Debbie Stabenow also deregulated these banks again, so that the banks can do the same thing.
Marcia, let's back up. How do they want you to go to jail? I don't understand.
Yeah, I understand. Well, if you speak against, if you don't sign a paper on some of these jobs, later it's a case pending now in Kansas. If you go, you have to sign a paper agreeing not to criticize Israel. And if you don't sign it, then you risk losing your job. So people have to be aware of that. We're not.
Wait a minute. Are you saying they passed a law saying this? I don't think there was a law.
Yes.
Where did you learn about this?
Yes.
I think there was a resolution that went through the Senate saying that, especially after that, the congressional lady from Minnesota made the remarks about Israel. I think there was a resolution that went through the Congress that they voted, supporting Israel. I don't think there was any penalty for speaking out against it.
Oh well, I think you better. Reread it, because if you criticize,
where would we read this?
The First Amendment. Yeah, I got it wrote down somewhere here. But I got it wrote down. I put it up there. But if you criticize Israel, that you risk the violating your constitutional right. That here's a foreign country that you cannot talk against, and you will.
Marcia, I think what the issue is not to make anti-Semitic remarks, but you can criticize the policies of Israel if you don't like their policies that they're engaging in. But to attack the Israeli people in anti-Semitic ways, people are uncomfortable.
Define anti-Semitic. But
she was talking about putting people in jail for it.
I don't know.
It's a law. Yes,
we got bigger issues than that, and we got folks in Detroit.
If you vote for Bernie Sanders, 22.
No.
Bernie's already struggling. Tell me what Bernie's done for African Americans.
Yes.
Well, he gave them $15 an hour. He
ain't gave nobody nothing now. Marcy,
Marcy, the world is giving everybody $15 an hour now.
Bernie has never done nothing for it. Hold on.
Today are economic issues. Economic issues.
But Bernie don't know nothing about no economics.
About the rate.
What about his wife? What about his wife was over a bank and the bank would collapse on her?
She was found not guilty. Found not guilty. What about
hold on. So y'all want to practice? Hold on. So y'all want to practice socialism on one respect and capitalism on another respect? That sounds like confusion to me.
So, yeah, listen. Socialism is Social Security. It's the military is a form of socialism. You all got college degrees and you don't know what socialism is?
Yeah, socialism is, in theory, if you're talking about pure socialism, it's one rung below communism.
Yeah, all I'm going to ask you a question. Are you on the payroll about Bernie Sanders?
Medicare for all? Heck no.
So Medicare for all. So Marcia, so if I got a policy through the UAW with Blue Cross and Blue Shield, should I give that up for Medicare for all?
Yes, you should.
Okay, bye-bye, Marcia.
Marcia, that's not going to fly.
That's not going to fly.
That's not going to fly.
That's why Bernie is never going to get elected, because of those policies. You keep it moving. You and your progressive movement, y'all dealing with an unbelievable world. It sounds like Alice in Wonderland.
Wait a minute. There are people here who have health care who go broke. So don't you sit up there and think you might have. They just denied a lady a
option system.
But they want the option of keeping their own health care.
Listen,
why do we have to listen about Bernie Sanders every Sunday? Why do we have to listen about Bernie Sanders every Sunday?
If you can't afford the rejection
Bernie's going to get reviewed a lot more than he was in 16.
We got another caller.
Okay, Marcy, thanks for calling in. We appreciate it, dude. Joseph, you're out with the panel here.
Yeah, good morning. How you doing?
Good.
No, she does have a point. There's currently a lawsuit in Texas where an Arabic woman was denied a job because she refused to renew her contract, and part of the renewal was she had to not agree to support BDF, and they didn't renew her contract, and that is currently going through the courts.
Okay.
Missouri had a similar law, and that was shot down by the Supreme Court. Marco Rubio proposed a bill in the first session this year, which was shot down. And in the bill, there were some criminal penalties for participating and some civil penalties for participating in that.
So what that got to do with the
participating in what, though? I mean, in criticism of Israel?
Right. For corporations and for individuals. And there's currently, I was surprised to find out, even in Michigan, there is a form of that in our laws. And I was like, wow, a lot. They're over 20.
I don't know, because if you have Rashida and some of them, they've been criticized.
Well, it sounds like a blatant violation of the First Amendment.
Whether or not it's been enforced, but there are over 20 states that have.
Hey, but brother, let me ask you a question. What does that got to do with educating an African American child?
I was like, wow.
Well, I think being in a world where we have free speech is critical for educating anybody, that people have a free flow of ideas and don't feel intimidated by aggression if they say the wrong thing. So I am interested in.
And you're absolutely right, but yet.
Where would I find this? If I go online later looking for this
you can
law.
Look up Marco Rubio's proposed bill, which was shot down in the first session.
Okay, but if it was shot down,
I'm talking about existing legislation.
What law is there that says you can't criticize Israel?
Whoa, gentlemen.
Hey, brother, you know, hey, brother, I'm not worried about Marco Rubio, the clown who votes three ways in this conversation. I'm worried about educating kids in Detroit, man. You know, I'm worried about trying to find income so people can produce income for themselves. I'm not caring about what's happening with Marco in Missouri and all them places. Let's stick to Detroit and the state of Michigan where we reside.
Well, I do. And Keith, you used to be in my district. my county commissioner.
Yes.
And I'm one of those middle-class blacks. I live in the city. I live right here in Rutherford.
Yes.
All right? I make that, the 80 grand plus. I could leave. But I'm one of those that, they said need to come back. I never left.
I know you. I know your voice.
So I agree. I was just making a point for the young lady. Yes, there has been proposals out there for,
right.
BDF, but I agree with you wholeheartedly when it comes to us and Detroiters.
Joseph, are you pleased with what you're seeing as the progress? Are you pleased with what you're seeing in the progress of the city, both in the neighborhoods and compared to like downtown?
No. When they privatized the garbage pickup, supposedly that was going to be saving us money, right? But yet I'm still paying $260 a year for trash. How is that? Why did you privatize it and I'm still paying the $260 trash fee? How does that work? Okay?
You're
right about that.
Think about it. When I called and I said, when are we going to stop paying the money? My council person told me, well, they don't know anything about that.
You talking about Gabe Leland?
My mother's still paying it.
You talking about Gabe Leland?
I didn't vote for him. Okay? I didn't vote for him.
But is he your council person?
Unfortunately, yeah.
Okay. So you called them up and said, why is the garbage fee still in existence?
Why are we still paying it if they privatized everything and everybody wanted all this privatization? My trash was just fine. They picked it up at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
I didn't have a problem with it. Okay, I'm in the city. Why is it that when I go to get homeowners insurance, they want to tell me, hey, $300,000. I got to pay $3,000 a year for homeowners insurance, and then they tell me I need 2 policies because I need to go get Michigan Basic for my content, and I need to go get this for the exterior. Why? Wait a minute. Why is that?
But brother, what's happening? The voiceless don't have nobody speaking up for us or for you. Because when I was a county commissioner, you knew I was going to be at your meeting, but I brought substance to the table. They ran me out because they want people that's going to be going to cater to those folks that's feeding the public trough.
There's a lot of
That's right. That is what they want. But I have yet for anybody to ask me. I'm not poor, thank Jesus. I'm not filthy rich that I can hold my own. But no one is came and said, well, wait a minute. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? I don't. I look at, the best thing, the last thing they did on Dexter and Davidson, believe this one, next time you drive by there, they put up a sign of Malcolm X. Can you believe it? They put a sign. That's the last urban improvement they did over there in Dexter and Davidson. They put a sign up on there, right in front of the Dexter and Davidson sign, that said Malcolm X. Malcolm X what? Boulevard, Malcolm X was here. Malcolm X. What? He stood on this corner? What in the world? What?
Hold on. They can come up with. Sir, let me tell you this, and let me tell you what I did. Back when I was a county commissioner, people don't realize what I did. That Dexter Elmhurst was getting ready to go out of business. They was getting ready to shut it down. I got the state to transfer the building to Wayne County. Bob Ficano was the county exec at the time. I got the building transferred to the Wayne County, and I transferred back to the community for $1. Plus, we gave them some park money to keep it open and stuff like that. See, that's how government's supposed to work. Okay, but now the government works against your interests based on the people who feed in that trough.
You're saying there's no options.
There's no options.
We asked for on Waverly and Dexter. Even the liquor store owner, we wanted to make it one way, just one way. That would cut down on some of the traffic and some of the drug dealing right there on Waverly and Dexter. You're right across the street from the park. The city shot us down. Wait a minute. People driving the wrong way down one-way streets anyway. We just want to make it legal. No. No. I mean, you just go, what in the hell? And I'm telling you, I got to be honest. If my mother wasn't still alive, I would be so gone from this dysfunctional place. It doesn't make sense. All of my family have left.
Hey, don't leave, man, brother. Brother, don't leave, man. I love Russell.
I'm telling you, I can't take it.
You think I can't take it either?
Wait a minute. They finally tore down Ernie D. Finally. That thing's been abandoned for, what, 40, 50 years?
No, about 100 years, man. Ernie D's ballroom.
Well, part of the problem in trying to... I'm trying to get a handle on what the city government's doing is they do so many things behind the scenes that then they go and rubber stamp things at the public meetings and act like, oh, we have, openness, we have this public meeting, but we don't know what happened before that. Like, I know when going to the police commission meetings, they'll go and vote on a budget, and it'll take like about 2 minutes to discuss that, and you have no ideas what the detail of the budget is. And then, like, when, for instance, Commissioner Willie Burton goes and says that we want to actually see the budget, we want to see what people get paid, we want to see who does which jobs for how much money, he gets shot down, and nobody wants to release this information, and it should be available to the public.
Hey, listen to this.
What's the biggest joke going? You got a police chief / deputy mayor. How does that work? Suppose you got to investigate the mayor. What do you do?
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, Burton got shot down on criticizing the chief for that, too.
Yeah. There's a lot of, there are a lot of people uptight about that.
Think about, how do you have a department where you can't date the subordinates where there's no policy against that? How does that work? I mean, no other place in the world operates like this.
Okay. Joseph, we appreciate it. We got a number of callers lining up here.
I'll see you at the next meeting, man.
All right, Joseph. Thanks for calling in on your Sunday here. Next up, we have David. David, you're on with the panel.
Yes. You heard one of the ultra-liberal socialists, Marcia. She wants Bernie Sanders to be president. She wants they want socialism in Detroit. It's a lot of socialists in Detroit. They want free water. They don't want to work.
No, I don't say that, brother.
That's broad stereotyping.
That's broad stereotyping. We philosophy, where everybody can disagree, but to say people don't want to work, people got to have the tools to work. It's got to be ingrained in the system. When I was in high school, man, you could walk right out of high school and get a job in a plant. There was some hope. There was some opportunity. Don't never say nobody don't want to work, man.
Let me put it like this. Let me put it like this, And I can prove to you that some of them don't want to work. There was a young lady.
You can go any place in the United States and see people who don't want to work.
Okay, let me put it to you like this. There was a young lady on Monday on Nolan Finley's show. She gave the statistics of the amount of illiteracy in the city of Detroit and the amount of students in schools who like high schoolers who graduate are reading at a 4th grade level.
That's the education system.
Exactly. When you can't read, you have to decrease your probability of getting
Brother,
a job.
but guess what? Yes. The fact of the matter is, now I'm going to say this to you. In Detroit, the city of Detroit, 85% of school districts are African Americans. We got to do a better job of running towards each other instead of running away from each other. Brother, we are at fault too in this. And anybody can come up with their statistics to justify what they're trying to do.
47% of Detroiters are functionally illiterate.
Would you tell me where they're at? Tell me where they're at. Tell me where they're at. Are they in Rosedale Park?
What did you say?
Are they in Sherwood Forest? Tell me where the 40%
They're all around the city. 47% of Detroiters.
How do you know that?
How do you know that?
How do you know that?
This has been talked about for years. They've done the studies.
Guess who does the studies? Anybody can do a study that does the skew towards that thing.
Why do you think Detroit, there's so much unemployment in Detroit?
Because of racism. Racism.
Sir, you can't have a person on a job saying, okay, there's an order for
they did it back in the
200 feet of copper. Pull 200 feet of copper, then they go out and they pull 80 feet. You'll cost the customer a problem, and you cost that company a problem. You can't have people out here who can't figure out things numerically or can't read and comprehend things. This is the problem in Detroit.
But sir, you're making a broad statement.
Yeah,
You're making a broad statement.
There's a lot of successful young youngsters in the Detroit school system.
Yes, a lot of successful kids in Detroit. I can go to, I go into schools, sir. I'm in the schools recruiting for the Wayne County Sheriff's Office. Have you been in the school?
Have I been in the schools?
Yes.
No.
So then, so you making a broad statement. You know, your facts. If you ain't been in the schools on a day-to-day basis, so why you calling up here on Sunday denigrating somebody by being illiterate?
They are.
Okay. David, we have a lot of calls. We appreciate you calling in very, very much, but we got a lot of calls. Next up, we have James. James Brown with the panel.
Yeah, first of all, Bob and Keith, I want to thank you for this show today. It's necessary, the tension to relieve, as Keith has said, in the sense of real justice and power for our people. And I'm saying the labor pains, the birthing pains are there, and we're not going to settle for the narrative that has been out for years. It is time, as you have said, Keith and Bob, the elbow grease of the citizenry, even Joseph and others who have stated their case. We're not playing the old narratives. We are going to shine this thing up, purify the system, get all the corruption that use public monies and policies for private means. We're getting ready to end all of that, and the citizen will be number one. That's my comment.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, James. We appreciate it very, very much. Next up, we have Mario. Mario on with the panel. Mario?
I appreciate the conversation. Yeah, I appreciate the conversation. The two callers ago that blamed the illiteracy upon the very population. You know, I would just like to bring back that old saying, teach a slave anything but to read. You know, the public school sector is failing. I worked for I was appointed by the House of Representatives. I did a longitudinal study in the 9th District, all 21 schools from Cody, Dixon, McKenzie, all of them. The biggest challenge we have is that there's only 30 hours in a school week for a good student. There's 168 in a week. And so we have children coming to the table with issues much, much deeper than just simply not reading. The formative years.
I agree with that, sir. I agree with that.
We can, yeah, I appreciate that, and I agree with everything that you guys are saying. We have to, as a community, for our own best interest, intervene in a system that necessarily isn't our fault today per se, but it's a system that destroyed the family unit and then developed a public school system that was never intended to equip and empower them. Education comes from, as you said, which means to draw out. So if you're really, educational system is like Roper or Brother Rice, something that's drawing out the giftings that are already inherently within these children.
Mario, one of the issues is that they, and I know you can point to any study, but study after study says the most formative years, whether a youngster is going to be successful or not, is 0 to 3 years old. I mean, in terms of them being exposed to, positive things that are going to help them open up their minds for education. And there are no programs that really address that.
But you know something, sir.
Go ahead.
They once said it takes a whole village to raise a child. I remember when I grew up, they was excited about me going to college, the neighbors and things like that. I was like a rock star. And then when I got elected, I came back to represent the community I grew up in. Man, I felt good about that because I saw the good times and the bad times. And I just want to bring back the in-between times where you get a little bit, you're going to have a little bit of each, but kids and folks need to know that somebody's going to serve their best interest. And then when they know that, then they're going to support your interests.
Yeah. Okay. It really does take a village. It honestly does. And the destruction of that culture, the tribal culture that my mom came from Cuba, my dad from South America. Right, so the tribal this network system, the tribal network system, and then the family system is the foundation upon which then you put the educational system on top.
Mario,
the education system is not the foundation. I appreciate you guys.
Okay, thanks, Mario. We appreciate it.
Yeah, as I said, I agree that we actually really need to move away from the idea of being too dependent on constantly saying this organization or that organization we have to go to fix things. And people need to organize more closely with each other, and with with families need to be focused on realizing that they're really the first line moving forward in educating their children, and the schools come later and all that. But really, it's the neighbors need to be supportive of one another, and look out for one another's kids. When there's trouble, they need to be able to talk to each other. Parents need to talk to each other about their kids.
Okay. Next up, Jerry. Jerry, you're on with the panel. We only got a few moments here, Jerry.
Yes, thank you very much for taking my call. Gentlemen, all of you over there, with my respect to you, are public figures and you serve the citizen in Detroit. My question to you, gentlemen, there is some kind of tax in Detroit, and I don't know exactly what is it. A resident or not a resident in Detroit, they have to pay
the income tax separate. If
Yes,
you're a
sir.
resident, you pay a higher percentage of your income tax versus a non-resident. If you work there, you pay a lower percentage.
Okay, my question is to you, Mr. Ficano, the gentleman. Do you think this kind of tax hurt Detroit or make a benefit? Because a lot of people, they love to come to work for Detroit, but they hate to pay this income tax bill. I would love to hear your answer, and thank you, and God bless you.
This is regressive tax.
Yeah, it's is it popular? No, it's not. But the problem is right now Detroit has a gap of revenue that they have to continue to have within the city to run certain functions. I hear a lot of. One of the things that is a pullback sometimes is people don't want to come in and pay the extra if they're moving a company down there to pay the extra tax that's going to be on the employees. And in fact, some companies pick up that tax for the company to move down there. And if you're a resident, you pay a higher percentage than if I think it's 1.5. I can't remember the percentage. It's 1.5, and it's 0.5% if you're a non-resident. I forget what it is, but you pay an additional amount. Now, a lot of people, aren't happy with that. I think it was originally passed by Coleman Young because they needed it with some of the utilities and things like that, where it was falling short. I'm not exactly sure of all the history of how that came about.
Yes, libertarians have a slogan that taxation is theft. Of course, the other side of that is you can't keep asking for things without taking money out of your pocket if you are going to at the same time say that someone else should not have to pay for it. So there's the issue of finding alternative ways to get the services people need at the same time that we recognize that there is a problem with people being forced to pay out money.
I know when we were at the county, Keith, that the people sometimes worked outside the county half the time and inside the city of Detroit. So it caused all sorts of issues just on the financing, trying to figure out what the issue is and what was happening. Real quick, before we leave for this week, is Joe Biden going to get in?
I think Beto and Joe going to get in, and the ticket's going to be Joe Biden and Beto.
Well, I know you're libertarian, so do you think Biden's going to get in, Scotty?
I'm not sure. It seems like maybe that he's kind of like too much from the old guard now. It seems to be a lot of demand for something new and different.
Scott, you see, he took that criticism for calling Mike Pence decent.
Yeah, I know. That's
come on, man.
So it's what I've seen.
We
in
don't
the
like his
past is
policies, but to say he's a human being, okay.
Right.
I mean, is there something wrong with that?
Former vice presidents, after skipping terms, seem to have trouble. Like I'm thinking back to Al Gore running and trying to get in.
When he called Pence decent, it went back to the generation he was raised in, and say people are being cordial to one another, even if we disagree with one
these
another.
Liberal, I'm telling these progressives, man, they're going crazy, man.
Okay. Well, that's all the time we got. I want to thank everybody for calling in. We had a great show today. I want to thank Scotty Boman and Keith Williams for joining us. And you're listening 9:10 a.m. to Superstation. I'm Robert Ficano, and join us next week from 8 to 10 on Sunday morning.
I'm going to church next.